and welcome back to Sunrise on the Hill, your morning pulse on politics. It was a busy weekend for some of us, but for the president,
he's a little busier than
a little busier. It included a new trade deal and promise of more aid to Gaza.
Yeah, on top of opening a new golf course in Scotland and the August 1st tariff deadline fast approaching, the president spent time looking internationally to wars overseas. News Nation's Tom Dempsey live for us this morning outside the White House with details on the president's trip. Tom, the president's focus now turning to Friday and that all-important tariff deadline.
That's right. Time is ticking. Good morning, guys, from the White House. Look, it's already been a busy morning for President Donald Trump overseas in Scotland, holding a grand opening ceremony for his family's new golf course in Aberdeen, Scotland. But like you said, time is ticking right now as this deadline for tariffs approaches this upcoming Friday, August 1st. So this trip overseas to Scotland, trade has obviously been one of the very big issues that President Trump has highlighted. He's put a big focus on recent deals with the United Kingdom and the European Union. That EU deal, quite a massive one, involving 15% tariffs being put on any European goods coming into the United States, but it also involves over $1 trillion in investments and energy purchases by Europe for the United States. So again, that is a very big deal that the president has been highlighting while overseas. But there are still many deals still needing to be worked out. Time is ticking, as I said, until Friday. And if a country cannot reach a deal, it faces a possible massive tariff spike in items coming into the United States. President Trump saying in Scotland those rates could be anywhere from 15 to 20%. Deals have already been made, like we said, with the United Kingdom, the EU, Japan, Indonesia, just to name a few. But there are many deals still needing to be worked on. And we will note, too, that this week in Sweden, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent and his team are overseas talking with a delegation from China to talk about this trade framework that was agreed upon earlier this year. But there's still lots of work left to be done. And it's a pretty big countdown between now and Friday for these countries that could see a big change in tariff rates if no deal gets reached.
Hey, Tom, the president's also addressing the wars in Ukraine and Gaza, and he's even got a message for Vladimir Putin. Can you fill us in on all of that?
Yeah, absolutely. President Trump voicing a lot of disappointment with Russian leader Vladimir Putin, giving him right around a week and a half to reach some sort of a ceasefire deal with Ukraine. That frustration has really been growing inside the White House. The war very much dragging on in Europe right now. In fact, just overnight, we received more reports of Russian attacks on Ukraine. And President Trump has noted the high death toll on both sides. So he really wants to see some sort of a ceasefire deal gets reached. And he's talked about all these conversations that he's had with Russian leader Vladimir Putin, where, he talks to him on the phone, and then a few hours later, he sees more attacks from Russia against Ukraine. So he really wants to see an end to this. And for viewers at home not so familiar with this sort of threat coming from President Trump, again, right now, Russia faces about 10 to 12 days to reach some sort of a ceasefire with Ukraine, or its trading partners could face 100% tariffs for buying Russian oil and gas. It's because of buying Russian oil and gas that sort of helped fund the Russian war effort. So there's a big push now to end this war in Europe, and President Trump hoping that comes very soon. Guys?
All right. Thank you so much, Tom. Still